Okay, where to start? Right, this whole setup was meant to simulate the Akula device, his first little one with a couple of little LEDs that was supposed to be, or supposedly is, an OU device, and also to show people's reaction towards a circuit like this. So the plan was, the first video, make it look as real as possible, just like Akula did. Second video, as you would have known, was a little more comical. We done the microwave thing, and I also was throwing hints throughout both videos as to what was really happening here, and what you see is not what you always get. To all my friends and others that thought I was being legit when I was trying to simulate a device that everyone is trying to get up and running, spending a lot of time and a lot of money on. I'm sorry, I should have gone about it a different way, as a few people have pointed out to me. Rather than have the first video, which was the serious video, the second video a little bit more funny, and the third video being the reveal video, was pointed out to me, I should have perhaps had everything all in the one video, so people weren't left standing thinking that there was something great going on here. Well, like I said, I tried to put hints in the videos, and I repeatedly said that it was not an OU device, and for that little cap that is supposed to be 1000 microfarads at 16 volts to run that LED like it was, it would have to have been an OU device of great proportions. But like I stated right in the word go, it is not. This is purely to show you, what was my intentions was to show you how simple and easy these people can put out these devices that they call OU and start raking in money for something that really doesn't work. As you would have seen, both my videos have now been removed. I removed them, and I should have done this first, but we're going to do the whole shebang in one video. So like I said, it's to simulate what you see with the Akula device, because I think, along with many others, that it is a fake. His other device has been proven to be a fake. People have picked up where the power supply cable goes down through the rusty old water pipe into the ground. But there's still people out there, many of you, that are trying to replicate his little original version. They've gone to great lengths of trouble to draw up schematics and all that, and wrap little bits of copper plate around the coils to make it all work, and it's just not happening. But that's what this was all about. It wasn't meant to deceive anybody, but like I have been told and has been pointed out to me, I should have done all three videos in one hit, and then there wouldn't have been the chaos that I've created with the first two videos. Not so much the second one. A lot of people caught on as to what was going on and why. As you would have known, I said in the videos, you've seen it on YouTube, it must be real. So once again, apologies to all my friends, everyone in fact, that thought I had something fantastic. I do not. It was a mock-up version, a simulation, just to show you how easy Akula could have done it, or how it can be done. But of course he's made that flash little board with timer chips and this and that and crap everywhere, and it makes it look really good, so it's got to be believable. And that is why in my first video I chucked in that extra board and said, would it be more believable if I had that there? There are things with this that people don't believe that are actual fact, and we will show you that. So okay, like we've seen in the last two videos, we have our so-called 1000 UF cap, 16 volts, 2 N3055, our microwave oven transformer, which is two separate coils now. Microwave oven transformer coil, high voltage side, and our LED. There is no hidden batteries anywhere. As was pointed out, there could be batteries in the LED, there could be batteries buried in the coil, but there is not. So the first thing that makes it believable is we just give it a quick touch like that on the wire, which is charged the cap up with our 6 volts, and the system is now up and running. Okay, and in the other videos you would have seen, we measured everything: resistance, the transistor, the LED, everything but that cap. So what I'm going to do now, actually before we do that, on the first video I showed a scope shot. Now a lot of people said there's no way you can achieve a square wave like that from something so simple. Well, that is actual fact. That there is real. That is the waveform across the LED, which of course is across the run coil, because that is where our LED is, across the run coil. And yes, it's been disconnected. Now the reason for that, and this is where alarm bell should have started ringing in the first video for those that know how to read scopes. Our voltage divisions are set on 2 volts, and as you can see there, we have about 2.2, 2.3 volts, and yet we pumped 6 volts into the system. So what's going on there? Now, because our coil is 40 ohms, which I also showed you and told you in the videos, 2 volts over 40 ohms is very little current, so we can indeed achieve 2.5 volts across that 40 ohm coil, but not with a 1000 microfarad cap. Impossible. But what we'll do now is I'm going to do what we didn't do in the other two videos and put our voltmeter across the cap. So saying 2.2 volts in the cap, and our scope is showing 2.2 volts across the run coil when the transistor switches on. So that was actually telling you what the actual voltage in the cap was, or extremely close to it. And I'm surprised more people didn't pick up on that. The only one that bothered to do some measurements and post them was Stefan from OU. Okay, so the system is running on 2.2 volts or thereabouts at the moment. So how do we get a perfect square wave? Well, the transistor, because of the trigger coil being 20 odd ohms, gets a decent quick sharp shot of voltage, and the transistor switches on very cleanly, as you can see, which is switching on time, switching off, and then we get our flyback across the LED. So why is the LED so square? Well, LEDs are funny things. You can raise the voltage in an LED up to a certain amount, and then no matter how much current you put into them, the voltage does not go up much. So the voltage in the LED can be reasonably square if that is a 3.2 volt LED, which it is. And you can see we have about channel 1V max 2.88 volts, and that's why the LED is duller than it would be. But the current waveform can look different. The current waveform could indeed look like that if we had a current trace on there. So while the current waveform might look like that, with an LED the voltage waveform can look very square, because after a certain amount of voltage you can keep adding current and the voltage across the LED will not go up much. They are not linear as far as current and voltage goes. So the square waveform is absolutely real. The light output is absolutely real. The runtime is absolutely real. Now the only thing, like I said before, that we didn't do any measuring and crapping is the cap. So, and I tried to show this in the videos, and that's why I had the clear glass bottom, and we showed you all around the cap, blah blah blah. Looks nice and clean, unmolested. But if you had been watching closer, you would have seen on the back of the cap it has 3 lines, and on the other caps I showed you that are the same, 1000 UF 16 volt, we have a cross. Okay, that there symbol indicates a super cap, and that's exactly what that cap is. It is a 5 farad 2.7 volt super cap, and these caps just happen to be the exact same size, and it wasn't very hard to get a sharp Stanley trimmer, put a slice down the cap casing or cover, slip it off and glue it straight onto that one. Now if we have a close look at the cap, somewhere here, where is it? There is a join, I know there's a join. Right there. Very hard to see in this dull light. There you go. Bit of super glue along the join and then the black texture run over it, and it's extremely hard to see. And this is how easy it is to fake these things. Now, funny thing is, you can get a 10 farad cap at 2.7 volts, which is half the size of this tiny little thing, which happens to be near the same size as the ones on the first little Akula device. So there you have it. Light output, runtime was legit, the coil's legit, the transistor's legit, the waveform is legit. That is what is across our LED lights. The cap is a super cap, as we all know now. Now the other thing is, why did it start up just by pulsing or rubbing the positive side of our battery across the positive side of the cap? Well, we've got over 6 volts here and quite capable of putting out a fair bit of current, and a super cap which is pretty hard to charge. Takes a lot of current to charge it. So what happens when you strike it very quickly, it sends a quick pulse of current through the run coil, which is of course open at the time, so you would think that no connection, it's not going to do anything, but because of inductive coupling of this tightly wound coil, the current will continue through the trigger side and go straight to the negative side, which is the emitter of the transistor, which is hooked to the negative side of the cap. So when we give it a strike, the coil gives a quick pulse, magnetic field is set up. When that field collapses, of course it fires up the transistor and away it goes. So this is the way I should have done it, I guess. But I wanted to make it as real as possible, and even with the little hints thrown in through the videos, no one picked up on it. except for Stephanie asked questions and done some mathematics on the first one, and he was about the only one that questioned it. Most of my friends out there probably wouldn't question it because I don't do fake shit, and they were all happy and believed what they were seeing because it was coming from me. But the other thing was that people that didn't know me and don't know me from BSO also believed what they were seeing, and this is happening with devices like the Akula device and many others. People see it on YouTube, a scream of OU comes along, and the next thing you know, everyone's replicating, spending money and time doing it. This is why after the first video I got on OUR, told the boys don't replicate it. It's not what it is. It's simply a video to show just how easy it can be done, faked, whatever you want to call it. And then over to unity.com to let Stefan and everyone there know not to waste their time on it, because it isn't what it looks like it is. So that was the whole purpose behind what was going to be a 3-video series, the third video of course being the reveal. But I maybe done it a little too good, as people pointed out, and too many people started getting excited about this fancy, very simple setup, so we had to put a stop to it before anyone started wasting their time on it, because that's not what the intention was with this video. It was to show how easily things can be faked, and how many people get away with this sort of thing and start to profit from it, and also have a lot of people running around trying to replicate these devices. I was one of those people, or should I say I used to be. Now when I see an OU device put out there, I hardly even give it a second thought, because up to this day no one has ever replicated one. But we keep on trying. So once again guys, I'm sorry, I did it a little too well, and like it's been pointed out to me, I should have done it all in the one video like I've done here. And there isn't much more to say than that. But for those of you that didn't believe in the square wave being like that, I'm afraid that part was actually true. That's what is across our light emitting diode, and I hope I explained as to why that is the case. Once again, it is because LEDs will get up to a certain voltage, and then you can lift the current a fair bit more without the voltage changing very much across the LED. So that's about it. I can't do any more than what I've done now, so I'm sorry for any inconvenience, and all those of you that have shared my video, rather than asking you all to unshare it, I simply removed the 2 videos to save you the trouble. So that's what this was about. So we've gotten rid of those 2 videos, we've done it all in one hit. This is how I should have done it in the first place. So once again, my apologies for that. Thanks guys.